Welcome to another edition of the Model Minorities podcast, where we take seemingly ordinary people's lives and share and do a deep dive into their everyday life stories. I'm your host, Sam Lee. We have Jake on the Wheels of Steel on production. And today's guest is a longtime homie of mine, interesting dude, Rick Tonthat. Welcome.
Yeah,
Thank you, guys.
Welcome.
Yeah. Hey, Rick. How you doing?
Good. I've never been called just an interesting dude before, but yeah, I'll take it.
Your drive up there, how was it?
It was cool, man. The freeways were actually a lot more empty than I thought it'd be. Seems like this whole coronavirus thing is really taking over.
Yeah.
I noticed that in the last couple weeks, starting last week, I had to get down to South LA. And it only took me 30 minutes. And I was like, what's going on? I can't believe that there's no traffic. And we just recently talked about this. The coronavirus is just, people are going crazy. Today you saw something out by Turner.
Yeah, I was picking up my kids and I drove by Turner Sporting Goods, and it's crazy. The lines were like absolutely out the door. So we were joking that, the Asian people are buying toilet paper and the white folks are buying bullets.
Right.
So, yeah, it's wild. It's crazy.
Yeah, that was a crazy picture. I've never seen Turners like that. Have you ever seen Turners with lines out the door like that?
You know what? I have. So during the Obama administration.
For sure.
Right. So, everyone thought that Obama was going to take their guns away. Yeah. So I saw the lines getting packed up just like today. So It's crazy because right now it's not the Obama administration. We got Trump, who's pro guns, right?
Right.
So, yeah, it's pretty wild.
You're pro guns.
I am pro guns. You know what? I'm more pro self-defense than I am pro guns.
Amen
I like
to
that.
Yeah. I think it's not the guns. I just think every person has a right to defend his family.
Amen.
And to protect what you work hard for.
Yeah, it's just a tool at the end of the day, right?
Yeah,
you're just gonna best protect your family with.
That's right. I think the gun isn't the what causes the violence. I mean, obviously it's the means to the violence, but I think it's the person behind it.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Like a kitchen knife. I mean, there's no danger behind a kitchen knife,
exactly,
but it's who's wielding that kitchen knife.
Exactly. It's like, if you start banning stuff, where do you stop, right? I mean, you have a stapler behind you, and that thing looks pretty mean. And I'm sure if someone wanted to do some damage, you can do damage with pretty much anything. So, banning what's in your hand, I don't think it's gonna, change anything. So I think you got to change the actual mindset first.
So Jay, I completely agree with that. Jay, you're on board with that as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Awesome. So if you notice at the center of our screen, I usually will bring this up at the end, but we have a couple things up there, and the reason I have that up there is the first time I ever went skeet trap shooting up there was with Rick. Rick took me, and I guess you could either like it or you fall in love with it, and I fell in love with it immediately. I think within a month I bought my first shotgun, learned how to use it, and that's why those shotgun shells are out there. What's the difference between the bird shot and the buckshot, Rick?
The bird shot is more, sporting. It's more skeet. The buckshot, obviously. So you have what's inside. You have, I don't know, I'm not a gun expert, but there's these little things that look like BBs.
Yep.
The buckshot is a lot pellets. The buckshot's a lot bigger than the game shot.
Right.
But normally when you go skeet shooting, it's just a bird shot.
Yep.
But it's funny because I sat down and I saw a hat that says Saigon, and I see 2 bullet shells, and I'm like, dude, what is that?
Are we gonna talk about the Vietnam War?
That's what you think about when you think Vietnamese people. It's just Saigon and bullet shells.
So Rick, you're Vietnamese American.
That's right.
You came over on a boat?
I did. I came in 1980.
Oh wow.
And most people our age that came in that time came by boat. So if they told you they came by a plane, they lying, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They lying, yeah.
So you and your whole family then?
That's right. Right. Not just my family, but my whole extended family. My dad's got 12 brothers and sisters.
You guys all came over same time?
We came staggered.
Yeah.
We came staggered. We were one of the earlier families.
Right.
My dad was part of the Navy in Vietnam.
Okay.
So he pulled some strings and got us over a little earlier.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, the entire extended family, we're all here. Man.
How was that experience? I personally have never traveled to like another, let's say even a continent, via boat.
I mean, when I left, I was 3, and I got here when I was 4.
Okay.
So
took you guys a year?
Dude, it took us a long time because you can't.
Were you guys paddling? Did they make you guys paddle?
It's Viking style.
That's right. Right. Yeah, Vietnamese people swimming.
Yeah.
No, it's wild because it's not like today where you can just hop on a plane and like bam, end up in LA.
Yeah.
So you have to go through like all these different islands, like just random islands. Like you don't realize
pit stops.
Yeah.
Oh,
and you don't realize how many random
refuel.
items.
You gotta
refuel, refood,
Yep.
right? Because food, water, all that stuff,
Yep.
and it's crazy because my parents tell me these stories, and even though I don't remember the details, it seems like I might have blocked out a lot of the stuff, but when they're telling me the details, like a lot of it's like, yeah, that sounds right. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's kind of blurry.
So it is. But some of the stories that they tell me, man, it's crazy because you have like hundreds of people on this boat, right, and it's not a cruise ship,
Nope.
and the whole
no means, yeah.
No, and the whole mindset when you're on there is just survival, and and people die, on these boats, people fall off. But you can't stop and like oh someone fell off. It's the end of the world. You got to go.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's wild, man.
It's dangerous. I mean, we even have friends who came over on a boat, Vietnamese, lost some fingers, lost some limbs, and things like that.
Right.
It's dangerous. It's not.
So
really...
my dad was a lieutenant commander in the Navy, the South Vietnamese Navy.
Okay.
So he actually commanded the ships that we took over here.
Oh wow.
And he was telling me when they were coming, you have one main ship that tugs other ships,
right?
But the water started getting so rough and choppy that we were thinking that all of the boats were going to sink. So my dad had to make the decision to cut the line, cut the line, right?
Wow.
So he cut the line and we got going. The other boat with us didn't cut the line, and they didn't make it. Both the main boat and the boat that they were tugging. So
wow,
yeah, it's
crazy.
crazy.
Back then they don't have like rescue boats or Coast Guard that comes and helps them, right?
Yeah, well they have Coast Guard, right?
Okay.
But you got to figure we're refugees,
right?
These countries don't want us there, so the last thing they want to do is come out and help us. You know what I mean? So
resources, dollars, all poured into.
Right. I mean, we're
refugees.
Right. It's sort of like the present day, right? I mean, you help the country that you're in. It's just like the whole situation, with the border in Mexico. It's like, and I don't want to get too political, but it sort of stems into that kind of thing where, people don't want invaders coming into our land. So that's what we were looked at as like invaders, right?
Yeah. So I think most of the Korean Americans came over. I think the big migration was the 70s, I believe.
But y'all lucky, y'all had planes.
We had planes. So we were fresh off the Piengi.
That's right. Yeah. What's a Piengi?
It's a plane.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a plane. So you guys came over on FOB.
Yeah, FOB. You guys were FOPs, yeah.
Fresh off the planes. Yeah. When you came over, you and your family, where'd you guys first land?
So we landed in San Francisco. And
what?
Yeah, what's a trip is I remember my life from that moment on. I remember stepping out of the plane, but I don't remember anything before that.
Wait, why the plane again?
So you go on, you take
confused.
So you take a boat into these little islands,
okay,
right? And eventually you make it to an actual country. So the actual country we made it to was Singapore, and from Singapore, yeah. So from Singapore we were able to take a flight to.
I see. That's how I went.
Was there a reason why you guys couldn't take a flight out of Vietnam to?
It's war. It's a war zone. Yeah. Leaving is like you're committing the biggest crime, right? You're fleeing. You're fleeing.
In the cover of darkness, you got to get out.
That was literally it. I mean, everyone's just making a mad dash for the boats.
Yeah.
Right? So I mean, sometimes if they catch you, you don't know what's gonna happen.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's different growing up in this country and growing up in this environment. You don't understand, but I look back and I was 3 and a half. And my mom told me the day we left, she said, you can't talk until I tell you it's time to talk. Ooh. She didn't tell me that till we landed.
Wow.
So I wasn't allowed to talk because, you got to just boom, 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 just prepare and move on.
Now you won't stop talking.
Now I won't stop. You know what I mean? I got to
make up for the lost year.
I got to make up for some shit, man. I got a big ass mouth. So yeah, no, you're onto something, man.
Hey, so you flew from Singapore into San Francisco. You guys lived there for how long?
Like a day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so just
before you guys relocated again?
Yeah, so from San Francisco, we got picked up and drove down to LA. And then
we got picked up?
From relatives, man.
Relatives were already here.
Okay,
picked
you had some
up.
family here.
Yeah, we had some family here.
And
We were like, out of the 12 families that my dad, my 12 brothers and sisters, we were like the third.
Okay.
So the first dude rolled up in a car all pimping.
Yeah.
But I remember that first day was wild because as soon as we got out, they gave us KFC and jackets.
Oh my goodness!
Dude, so the KFC was like
the best for you.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's
chicken wasn't moving. So it was cool, man. It was wild.
So do you still like it now?
KFC?
Yeah.
I'm more of a El Pollo Loco.
Oh, so you changed up.
Yeah, I'm trying to get trying to get in shape.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you're in good shape, dude.
Yeah, I'm 44 years old, man. I got to do something.
You don't look it, man.
I'm trying.
Great, man.
I'm trying.
So you landed in Rolling Heights? When I met you
no. So we left San Francisco. We came to Hollywood. So I actually lived in Hollywood first. Yeah. Okay. And from Hollywood, we ended up where all the Asians end up, which is the San Gabriel Valley.
Yeah, 66.
Right? In Rosemead. And then from Rosemead, we moved over to Roland Heights, and that's when I met Sam. Sam had a mullet when I met him.
We talked a little bit about the past few episodes.
I don't know what he's talking about.
I want to talk about his mullet a little bit, man. He had a mean mullet with some Z Cabricis.
Hey, man. So did you. We all did. We had the wannabe pompadours.
I don't know. Did you have a mullet?
I did. I'm too young, man. It's like,
he's too young. He doesn't even know about that.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
let's skip over. He barely knows about cassette tapes.
Oh, no, really? I totally had it. My first music was on a cassette tape.
Well, you said the first music.
Yeah, cassette tapes were dope.
Yeah,
for sure.
The bad part is you want to hear another song.
Oh, my God.
You got to look for it.
Yeah.
Rewind play.
Yeah. So from there, I mean, are you pretty tight with your folks? I don't.
I am, but I think I could probably be better. Obviously,
they're typical Asian.
Yeah, yeah.
Parents, right?
my mom, so when we first came, they both had to work. Obviously, as Asian, we just work.
What did they do?
So when we first came here, this was back in Hollywood. I mean, we were broke. We had nothing.
Yeah.
We had 6 of us living in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Wow.
So my dad went to work for, some Wang Laboratories. Okay. I don't know if you remember Wang Laboratories, but it was one of the bigger
Wang Labs.
Yeah, way back in the day.
I remember. Okay. Yeah.
So he was like an electronic assembler, basically soldering electronic bits.
Right.
My mom worked as like a clerk somewhere, and you got to figure they didn't speak English.
Yeah,
right?
At all, right?
At all, at all. But my mom went back to school. She went to Cal State LA. She went back to school. My dad was working, and my mom ended up getting a job for the city of LA.
Right.
So that kind of helped her, her speaking, her language skills. Yeah. So
awesome.
Hard work.
Yeah.
Man, that's like the definition of like immigration story right there, right? Yeah.
It is, but it's when you're living in that moment, right? I mean, that's kind of like all you know.
Yeah.
And
it's do or die mode.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. And growing up in that environment, it's like you kind of realize you're different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you go to school, you kind of realize you're different, but then.
Were your parents strict?
Oh yeah.
They were, right?
Oh yeah, big time.
Did your dad, did he spank you or physically hit you growing up?
He used to give us noogies.
Okay.
He was with his middle finger. No, I'm not kidding, dude. From like across the room, bam! Like yeah. And
all the over there, dude.
You
just feel it, right?
And and most of the time he'll warn you because his eyes get crazy.
Yeah,
it's coming.
Yeah, his eyes get crazy. You know that shit's coming, and then bam! But no, my parents are strict, man.
Yeah.
They
kept you in line. You always got good grades, though, right?
I did. So my parents used to tell me how smart I was, right? And you don't know if they're lying or not. But then you're like, well, if my parents think I'm smart, then I better do some shit. You know what I mean? You don't want to disappoint them.
Cool, man. So life, I know that when we were younger, we skated together. Mm-hmm. We were in a little dance crew together, and we just kind of went through,
the dance crew that we talked about.
Yeah, Rick was in it too.
Yeah. So Sam was a dancer, dude. When I first met him, he was a skater. Yeah. So I met Sam through a mutual friend named Sang. I think they went to church together, but we hit it off right away. Sam was cool. He couldn't skate really, but he was cool.
I skated from 9, 10, 11, 12, maybe 4 years, but I realized why I wasn't that good. I really loved it, but I just didn't have like the muscle build up yet. I was still this kid.
Do you require a lot of muscles to skate?
To do some of the moves,
to get in the air.
I think he was just goofy, dude. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, probably.
Look at Tony Hawk, dude. He's got no muscle, man.
He's a skinny guy.
He's a skinny dude. Your skis ain't flying with me.
All right, we'll move past that. Maybe that wasn't it. We'll figure it out one day. But yeah. So Rick, you went to past high school and all that. You went to UC San Diego. That's where my wife went.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Right on.
Yeah. She went there. And after that, what did you do after college?
So after college, I graduated with a double major, econ and psychology. It sounds crazy, like double major, but it was 2 easy ass majors. You know what I mean? When I went to school, I didn't really have an idea of what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of Asian parents.
People don't know unless you're a doctor, engineer, or lawyer.
And I didn't want to be a doctor, engineer, or lawyer, which is funny because my sister wanted to be a doctor, and my brother wanted to be an engineer, and I was the last one.
You were a lawyer.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. I was busy, having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And at the time, my parents just basically said, get good grades and graduate. That's all they cared about.
They thought that would be the end all be all.
Yeah, they thought it'd be the end all be all.
Parents,
So, school was a struggle. I kind of focused more on having fun for a while.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, you realize.
What does that mean, having fun? What'd you do?
I was just, just hanging out and partying, hanging out with roommates, hanging out with friends.
Clubbing?
Yeah.
Part of that clubbing scene.
Right. At the time, you don't realize that the opportunity that you have, I mean, it costs a lot of money to go to school.
Yeah.
Not only that, but it took you 18 years of busting your ass to get to school, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you're at that age, it's like, you don't think about that stuff. So,
of course.
Yeah, so I graduated, and honestly, I got out of school and I just started applying for jobs, like not knowing what the heck I wanted to be, just random jobs.
Just any job, right? Anything that would just kind of pick you up and get you.
Yeah. A lot of sales jobs, a lot of marketing jobs. So the first gig I landed was a recruiter. It was for a company called Aerotech, which is funny because the owner of Aerotech is Steve Busciotti, who actually owns the Ravens. Right. But so I did that. So I did that for a couple years, and it was cool. The whole sales aspect,
Yeah, the recruiting is it's a big business. People don't know how big that kind of vertical is. I think my brother did it for a few years too. He had his own little firm.
That's right.
Before he became an attorney, but it's a huge business.
It is, and actually, as a recruiter, it really helps you, navigate through life in terms of like interviews, because that's all you do is you interview people for a living.
I mean, you become an expert at that.
Right. So when you're sitting in front of like what we're doing now, it's basically it's an interview. But the more you do that, the more practice you get. So.
Right on. So when did you stop partying? Or are you still partying now? Hey. Cheers, bro.
hey, when it's just one shot glass, it's not really partying. No. Honestly, I've always liked to have a good time.
Yeah.
But recently I'm not getting any younger, so I'm trying to curb it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so after Aerotech and recruiting and stuff like that, when did you go? When did you apply for the city?
So after Aerotech, I went to go work for a couple of software firms. Selling software. And my mom, I mentioned my mom worked for the city. Yeah. She actually got my brother involved with the city as an engineer for Department of Water and Power. And they kept telling me, come work for the city. The city is great, it's stable, and blah blah blah.
Pension,
and
So
at the time, I'm thinking, I don't want to work for the city, man. It just sounds like just dull, bean counting work, right? But I thought I'd try it out, and I got hired. And, from there, the career just kind of grew, right? You feel like, a lot of the work, at least the work I do now, you feel like it has an impact on people's lives.
What do you do for them? I know your roles have kind of advanced.
I'm in affordable housing development.
Wow.
So we take city surplus land and we find developers to develop affordable housing.
Oh, wow,
that's dope.
That's real.
Yeah, it's right. So when I first started, it was just a job, right? Yeah. It's just something you do, 9 to 5 to get paid. But as you're doing it, and as you're developing this land, and you see the end result, and you see the families that you actually help, so it's. It makes you feel like, my time is worthwhile.
It's a necessary cause, Rick, because all we hear about is gentrification of all these neighborhoods that, we grew up knowing that this is where the low income housing is, or this is affordable housing. Right. But all that, everyone's getting pushed out. So we do need new development, and you help in that cause.
Yeah. And, the hot button topic, politically is homelessness, right?
Yep.
We all live
You work in downtown?
I work in downtown LA.
So you see it.
So I see it. I see it on a daily basis. So, homelessness, it's a big issue. There's a lot of homeless people out there.
That's an understatement, dude. I walked through there, man, and it was like
Yeah.
You had mentioned it's like the Pirates of the Caribbean. It's crazy down there.
So the other day I was walking.
Not to laugh at the man. But I'm just saying he's funny. And he put it in certain terms.
Sometimes when you're walking through LA, downtown LA especially, and you walk around and you see every facet of life, right? You can see a Lamborghini drive by, and then you turn around and some dude's taking a dump, dude. You know what I mean? So it's like, so the other day I was standing there waiting for, I take what's called the Dash. It's like a bus system that takes you around the city. Okay. So when I go to lunch, I hop on the Dash. So I'm standing there.
Is that free for city employees?
I have a train pass, so I can use my train pass.
That's cool.
So I'm standing there in the corner, right, and waiting for the Dash to come. And I look over, there's these two dudes arguing over a parking ticket. I guess one guy was the meter maid that gives parking tickets, and the other guy was the guy that got the ticket. They were screaming, and then behind him was a guy just pointing, going, just busting up laughing. And behind that guy was a dude doing jumping jacks, right?
Crazy.
So I'm standing there looking at this whole scene unfold, and it reminded me of the Pirates of the Caribbean. When you drive through the Pirates of the Caribbean and there's these scenes of dudes just doing random stuff.
Yeah.
It's wild. That's what downtown LA looks like.
Yeah, I'm off the hook. Not to be insensitive. I wasn't laughing because of that. I was just laughing because the picture was such a great explanation. It was like the Pirates of the Caribbean.
But you're right, though. I mean, you see it all, right?
Yeah, you see it all. And a lot of times, it's funny because I just had a conversation with my kids the other day. You walk by it sometimes and you're so used to it and so focused on what you have to do that a lot of times you don't look over and try to see what the person next to you is going through. It
becomes background noise, really.
Yeah. So the other day I was on the train and this lady walked by. She was a homeless lady on the subway. A lot of them actually sleep on the subway.
Oh.
And she walked by and she was asking people for money. And to me, if you say no, that's fine, right? You don't have to give money to everyone that asks for it. But I'm going to be honest, she didn't smell the greatest, right? Because a lot of these folks, they're out in the streets. But as she was walking by, people were like pinching their nose and like, closing their eyes and like making these gestures. And I'm like, dude, that's fucked up.
Like children, really.
It's fucked up. I mean, how your situation in life is bad, but you're still human, right? Yeah. And to have other people pinch their nose and like be gross, I was looking around, I'm like, that is those little things that right? I'm not homeless, but I can imagine if you're in that, part of your life and people are shunning you like that. It's terrible, man.
Yeah. I think that's the real heartbreaking moment, right? Not the fact that they're not getting paid or anything, but it's just that you're like a sore thumb that just kind of sticks out.
Yeah, they're sort of like the invisible people. Yeah. You just kind of walk by them and so.
Yeah. I think the homeless problem really increased. I saw the boom of it, I guess, for lack of a better word, when the funding for psychiatric wards went away.
Yeah.
And so all these hospitals.
When was that?
That was a couple years, maybe even 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Oh, wow. And what they did was these wards who used to get federal and state funding to house these crazy people, quote unquote.
Right.
The funding was taken away. Do you know about this, Rick? And then
it's my first time hearing about
this. They started letting them out.
There's a lot of funding. Obviously, with anytime you're dealing with social programs, you depend on state, federal funding. Yeah. Most of our funding comes from the feds, and it really depends on the priority of the administration that's there. Right. So again, without getting too political, certain political parties believe more in social programs than others.
Yes.
So, and we feel it, right? Because a lot of our funding comes directly from the feds.
Right.
But there's really no one way to solve, homelessness, right? Do you create more housing? Do you educate? Because a lot of these folks aren't ready for housing.
No, even if we got them a house, they'd be on the street.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you need a certain level of ability to live in a structured environment.
Of course.
Right. And a lot of times, if you put a person that's not used to that environment into a structured environment, they want to bring things like their bicycle tires or their couches, right? And that doesn't fit in a structured environment.
Their addictions.
And also their addictions, right? Yeah. So you need more of that initial bridge where you're going from homeless and just take that small
There's
step.
There's a step.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't just go from A to Z and say everything is okay.
No, and even though I'm in the development side of affordable housing, which is sort of the Z compared to the A. Yeah.
You are the problem, Rick.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
No, we spent a lot of time and the money on the Z, on the permanent housing, which is the ultimate goal. Yeah. But I think there should be a lot more
there's an
steps.
opportunity there then. And you know what? That opportunity is that gap.
Yeah, absolutely.
For companies to fill that gap.
Yeah.
It's not just about fixing the situation and just saying, okay, if you're homeless, then all you need to be
here's a home.
A regular person is to have a home, but it's not as simple as that.
Exactly. You need, and a lot of these folks have, substance abuse, right, mental health problems, and if you don't address those problems, it's you're not going to solve it by just here's a place to live, right? So, Yeah, no, it's tricky. So we try to consider all that when we're doing our developments, but you know, California is such a warm place, to live that I don't personally think that the problem will ever be solved. Right? It might be helped because other states that are cold. I mean, think about it. Do you want to be freezing in Chicago?
So they migrate.
Right. Or do you want to be warm in LA, right?
Yeah. Florida is experiencing this. LA.
Hawaii.
Yeah, I did not know that. I guess it's like the warmer states.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because the homeless in the other Midwestern states, they actually die if there's a big freeze.
Of course.
I mean, even like the last couple of days when it's been raining, right? Yeah. And it's we don't think about it because I got my Spider-Man blanket at home, and I do have a Spider-Man blanket. I'm not gonna lie.
Get it all warmed up.
Yeah. No. My wife bought these cool comforters. Right,
but then my daughter, your wife.
Yeah, but then,
shout out to Caroline.
But then my daughter, like, she brought.
Where were you really at this morning? It wasn't Turner.
Yeah, I was turning around. But yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Cool, man. So what are you gonna do after you retire? I know you're really into I guess. Off-roading, you're into...
I just got into off-roading.
You just got into
So I bought a Jeep because I thought Jeeps were cool,
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because the Jeep world, it's really between like who's a genuine Jeeper and who's not. So there's
you guys all like do that nod, right? When you see
it's called the Jeep wave.
Okay.
Is there such thing?
Yeah, there's an actual thing. It's called the Jeep wave.
What is it? Can you show us?
So when you see another Jeep, you just drive by. It's like, what's up? You kind of put your
kind of like
it has to be
Prius drivers.
Yeah, it's
or
like,
can it be two?
It could be anything as long as it's not the middle finger. But it's funny because Corvettes have it. I think Subaru drivers.
Yeah, I have a Subi, so that's
so it's called the Subi wave, right?
Subi wave,
it's the same thing.
I had an S2000, same thing.
Right on, it's the same thing. Yeah,
that's hilarious.
It's called the Jeep wave. So yeah, so I got a Jeep and I figured I might as well do some real Jeep stuff. So I finally went off-roading last week.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
First time then?
I mean, I've taken on some roads before, but last week was some gnarly shit. I mean, we actually went through like rocks and stuff.
Saw those pictures.
It was cool. It was cool. It was.
Did you go by yourself?
No. So there's a Jeep forum, right, that I'm on. I do some geeky shit, man. When you get old, dude, you're like, let's check out the forums, bro.
Yeah, you gotta find things to do.
Yeah,
you gotta find things to do.
Let's
check out the forums.
Let's check out the forums.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, man.
Let's be friends.
Hey, man.
We have the same interests.
Yeah, nice Jeep, bro. So I'm on a forum and there's this dude that throws these Jeep runs, and he takes amateurs out and shows them how to take on these trails. So I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna try it.
Right.
So I brought some friends along, and dude, it was wild. There was like 50 Jeeps out there.
That's crazy.
And he took us on this 3-hour desert drive.
That's all free? You guys just go out and go?
The guy just does it because it's his
passion.
hobby. It's his passion. Yeah. So yeah, it was cool, man.
That's dope.
Yeah.
You're gonna have some time at home with LAUSD closing out. Your kids will be home.
Yeah.
That's the big topic of conversation right now.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
And the city's gonna allow you to work at home now.
Right. So we're waiting on the final approval, but my kids. We got the email Friday.
Okay.
That they're going to be off for like 3 weeks. I guess it works out because it's during their spring break.
Spring break, yeah.
Yeah.
Just an additional week. You guys, what are you going to do? I know you have a cabin too.
I do. I have a small little cabin in Big Bear, so hopefully get up. And it's snowing too, so it's perfect.
It's snowing right now.
Yeah, it's perfect timing.
Yeah, you go off-roading one day and then go boarding.
California,
right?
Is sweet.
So that's why we pay these high taxes. You know what I mean? We live in a place that's like it's utopia.
It is, dude. I mean, you can go to the beach one day. You can go to the mountains another day. You got Hollywood.
Yeah.
But
we have it all.
We have it all, plus the high taxes too. So
yeah,
the good and bad, we have it all.
That's right,
dude. So anything you'd like to plug or pitch or say or anything?
No. I just want to say I think this is fantastic what you guys are doing. I think this is pretty dope. Model Minority. I like the
minorities.
Yeah.
We actually came up with the name. We had a different name when we first initially started. It was something that Jay and another friend of ours, he was on the show already, thought of a name, but it was too exclusive.
What was that name?
what was it? Asian Stereo. So I still think it's a good name.
Okay, so kind of like the Asian stereotype type thing, or
yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
Mixed in with the stereo, as in we're hearing this
podcast.
auditory.
Well, the term model minority is like an Asian stereotype too, right?
That's
it
correct.
Is,
yeah. So the model minorities is that's kind of a little play on words because most of our guests are not really model minorities.
Oh, so now I know why I was brought on. That's fucked up, dude.
No, but you know,
let's bring on the most cracked out dudes.
He's like, dude, I got a perfect guy.
I got this little leopard looking dude.
Let's talk about your tats a little bit then, dude. I mean, you just got 2 new ones. Right?
I did. So I got I got both my daughter's names on the back of my arms. It's actually their middle names.
Okay.
It's they're Japanese middle names, Risa and Ria.
Your wife's Japanese.
My wife's Japanese. She's actually from Okinawa.
Yeah.
So what's funny is we were planning to go to the Olympics this year in Japan.
That's off, right?
We were going to go, and they were like, yeah, the Olympics going to be expensive as shit. So we'll wait till next year. But I'm glad because I'm not even sure Olympics are going to happen.
I don't even think so.
I don't think so.
I have 2 buddies that are getting married this year, and they were supposed to go on their honeymoon. One was supposed to go to Italy and Greece, and it's like, we can't even go anymore. The other one wanted to go to Korea, Australia. They don't even know what's gonna happen.
This whole coronavirus thing, it's
crazy.
Crazy. It's like, how do you prepare for this stuff, man?
Yeah.
Toilet paper running out. What's up with the toilet paper, dude?
People are hoarding the weirdest.
You know what the crazy thing? I've been to about 6 stores now because I literally have 2 rolls of toilet paper at my house. I'm like, I'm not trying to stock up. I just need something to wipe myself.
I need a wipe.
Exactly. Hey, look, man. I've been preaching this for months now.
You're like
get the bidet.
Get the bidet. This guy's been talking about bidets.
He told you too.
He did on text.
Get
He's
the
like
bidet,
bidets.
guys. Yeah,
So
it'll save you.
So how long have you been bideting, bro?
Since we moved in. You know why?
You actually have one here?
We have 2, man.
I'm gonna try that bad boy
out. So,
but when you use it, do you still not wipe?
So that's the question.
It's so funny because one of our buddies said the same thing because he's anti toilet paper, but
I'm not anti toilet paper. I'm like, hey, here's the solution.
But ultimately, you need a toilet paper.
You do need toilet paper.
You do.
Unless you're walking out wet.
No, you never walk out wet. So what you do is it's continuous water. Like think about a drinking fountain, right? So that drinking fountain's cleaning 99% of all the
residue.
The residue
the
that's
debris,
on. It's a good word. That debris is getting washed off. The brownies are getting washed off, and then you only need like 2 or 3 squares. So really just pat down that water, and that's it.
1 ply, 2 ply doesn't matter, huh?
Yeah, don't really matter.
I can't do 1 ply, dude. That feels like sandpaper, man.
Yeah. So that's it, man. That's the trick. So you'll save a ton on toilet paper.
Oh,
but the toilet paper thing is like, who thought shit's gonna hit the fan? Yeah. I can understand water and food, right? Who thought shit's gonna hit the fan? Let's get toilet paper.
The first thing I gotta buy.
Yeah.
You know, so the
like shit was literally gonna hit the fan.
Yeah.
So it's funny because one of my friends was saying yesterday he had the same mentality. He's like, I don't get it, man. People are idiots. If a true pandemic's gonna happen and people have to quarantine themselves, I understand food and water, but why are people buying toilet paper? And he was walking down the aisle and he saw one pack of toilet paper left and it was empty. He was like, I need that toilet paper.
That's exactly right.
So that's actually pretty smart, right? Yeah.
Now that it's all gone, you want it. You're like, oh shoot, I need that.
Exclusivity, right?
Asian people think 2 steps ahead, man. Apparently,
that's what it is. Because all the Costco's, they're out of toilet paper. They're out of water too.
Toilet paper, water, and bread.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The only reason I know, I was at Costco last night. So finally, the wife said, "You know what? I think we should stock up." I'm like, "You think?"
Yeah.
Right. So we went to Costco last night, and it was weird because I was expecting like this war zone.
Yep.
There wasn't that many people. So we got there like an hour before they closed.
Yep.
And there was only maybe a handful of people, and it was calm and but all the food. No, I'm sorry, not the food. All the water, dog food is gone.
Yep.
I saw that too.
Bread is gone, which is weird because bread is perishable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Relatively quick too.
Right. All the meat's gone except for lamb.
You can't find Spam.
You can't find. Oh hell no.
All the canned stuff.
Spam. That's the first shit I'm going
That's
after.
the first thing.
Spam is delicious.
Spam's gone, dude. I can't believe
you don't even have to cook that shit.
No, you eat it with the spoon.
Yeah, dude. Worst comes to worst, but
yeah, dude.
No, but it's funny because guess what meat is left?
Lamb, you said.
Yeah, you can't. You don't have to guess because I told you.
Yeah.
But so apparently Asians don't like lamb then, right?
Yeah.
Because
lamb chops.
Everything was gone, but a whole chunk of lamb was left. So.
What did you guys end up picking up?
Frozen food.
Yeah, that's good.
Shitload of frozen food.
Yeah. Same thing's been happening since 2 weeks ago. You guys have seen my text come through. I've been just I'm out in LA, right? And I'm just visiting the local Korean markets. I'm visiting the local Costco's. And I'm like,
so what?
And then I went to Walmart. One day I went to H Mart, Walmart, and Costco.
And he's the problem. He's the problem.
He's the guy that's taking everything.
Yeah, he's got a closet full of toilet paper, dude.
Let me clarify.
About to jack his shit.
Just don't go in that room right there. Okay, hey, I just got a couple cases of water, one packet of toilet paper. That's it. I don't want to be.
Oh, that's right, because he's got the bidet.
Yeah, you got the bidet.
Yeah,
so one packet's a lot.
One packet's a lot. He only needs one square.
Yeah,
he only needs one square. So he's straight.
Yeah, man.
So what do Koreans stock up on?
Rice, brother. Rice, baby.
How about the kimchi, dude? Y'all stock up on the kimchi, huh?
Yeah. You have to get the kimchi. You have to. Cause kimchi it'll last for a long time.
Bury that shit in the backyard like the old days.
Like the old days.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's how it started. We didn't have refrigeration. Yeah.
That's how you get it fermented. Just bury that shit in the backyard.
Oh yeah. A lot of salt. Salt was preservative. So
but I heard kimchi is actually good for your digestive system.
Oh, yeah.
It's like probiotic.
System. Yeah, that's what they say.
It's one of the 10 healthiest foods.
Is that why Koreans are so tall and Vietnamese people are so short?
What the hell happened to me then?
That's exactly.
I'm not tall.
That's right. Like Sam's what 6'1", 6'2" or something?
Yeah,
that's crazy shit. That's like a 7-footer in Asian standards.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
And dude, I ate a lot of kimchi, man.
Yeah.
I should have had a few inches on me there.
Yeah. You know what's funny? When I went back to Vietnam in 2010, I'm only like 5'8", right? But back in the
5 what?
5'8".
5'8".
I was like, wait, what?
I'm not even 5'8".
Is it coming through?
No, it's funny because back in Vietnam, dude, I was actually tall.
Right? Oh,
yeah, because those little shits are like 5'3", dude.
Yeah,
they're like $120. So I roll back, I'm like, wood.
It's a giant of the town.
When was the last time you went back?
I only went back once, and this was in 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, it was crazy because it's the millennium, right?
Yeah.
So there was it's funny because the whole
times were good.
Yeah, and the whole city parties together. It's a trip, dude. It's
what?
It's
like a
whole
culture thing.
It's like a whole citywide celebration, dude.
What?
The entire city's out. Nobody's home.
That's dope.
And everybody's like shooting off fireworks and.
That's so dope. Community.
Yeah.
No, pho was like what, $1 back then?
No, dude. Pho was a quarter a bowl. But they were small. They were like a size.
You gotta get like 4 of them.
Dude,
right?
we had 8.
So 8 of them, so $2. I mean, that's still super cheap.
Yeah, so me, my cousin, and my uncle went to eat pho. And my cousin was a fat ass. He was like 200 pounds. That's fat for a Vietnamese dude. Dude, I'm not kidding.
It's like 3 Vietnamese dudes.
I'm not kidding. 3 of us, we had 32 bowls.
32
bowls. 8 bowls a dude.
Dude, you just made that business's like quota for the day.
Man, they were tripping out, dude, because our table, we had 32 bowls of pho.
Wait, so for the typical Vietnamese people that are from Vietnam, they'll just eat 1 bowl and they're done?
They'll eat 1, maybe 2.
Okay.
But you figure these dudes are $120 fucking wet, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like small.
You told me something funny about that trip. It was, I think, the dollar was so strong back then, you had people just following you around.
It's crazy,
wanting to like serve you.
It's crazy, but you kind of realize the corruption of Vietnam.
Right.
So when you go through their customs, you go through customs here, you just go through and you get checked. They have like 12 steps of customs, right? And at every step there's a VC commie, government dude checking your bag. And what you have to do is you have to slip a $5 in your passport. So at every step, you got to pay the motherfucker $5 to get to the next step. Yeah. So by the time you get out, you're out for like $120, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh
but that's
gosh.
just kind of like the way it works. The corruption is so
even
deep.
now.
Crazy.
Or was it
this
back?
was when I went, but I'm sure it hasn't changed. It's still.
Did you guys know when you guys went that you guys had to do something?
We did. So my uncle goes back and forth quite a bit. But
so
at first
he
I'm like,
told you.
yeah,
that's crazy.
and it's crazy because he grabs our passports.
What if you don't know that custom?
Oh, I'm sure you'll find out real
quick.
Because you get stuck in step 2 for like an hour.
Why am I here?
You don't know why you're not moving on.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And I'm not kidding, dude. There's like 15 steps, dude. And every step you have to stick $10 in your passport. And it's crazy, man.
Yeah, that's a lot of money back then, right?
Oh yeah.
For them to receive a 10.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because this was back in 2000, right? So it's crazy. So your engineer that has a college degree makes $60 a month, right? $60 a month. This is when I was back there. Your prostitute makes about $200 a day.
Crazy,
right? So it's like, all right, and it's fucked up because that's your people, right? And you're like, yeah, and it's sort of, it makes you want to go that direction. Why am I going to be a engineer and go through school when I'm going to make $60 a day when there's an ease route. I'm sorry, $60 a month. A month. Yeah. When I can make 3 times as much in one day. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, man. And the corruption. You think it's corrupt over here, right? Yeah. Our government system's corrupt as shit. Woo! There is.
That's not. It's another level. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some sad story.
Yeah.
Do you ever want to go back?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to take my kids back.
Yeah.
They haven't been yet.
No.
When you went, it was 2000. So.
Yeah, no, they haven't been back. So I want them to see where Daddy came from.
Yeah.
Daddy came from dirt.
Are you guys gonna go to Japan as well?
We are.
Half Japanese.
Right. Japanese. So the goal is to have them see, where they came from, right?
Okinawa.
Okinawa, where my wife's from.
Reminds me of the Karate Kid.
Oh yeah, the little drums. Remember that?
Yeah.
And the Karate Dude was bouncing through with the breaking those lights.
Great movie.
Yeah. So the goal is to have them understand, both sides of the story.
Of course.
And it's funny because you guys are sitting looking at me. Y'all got your same stories.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
From different backgrounds.
Yeah. Well,
so for your kids, I mean, they're like pretty much like second. They're just straight up American-born children, But
my kids are white as hell.
Yeah, but do they? So that was a question. Do they identify themselves as Asian American, or is it just purely just American?
They know that they're Vietnamese, Japanese, but I think identity-wise,
crazy combination.
Yeah.
Very unique.
Yeah, but I think identity-wise, they probably identify as just American.
It's beautiful,
which is fine because that's all they know.
Yeah.
They were born here.
Do they speak any?
No, they my mom speaks like half Vietnamese, half English to them.
Right. So they pick something up.
They pick some. They understand like are you hungry?
Yeah. Are you fluent, Rick, in Vietnamese?
Oh, no, I can't speak for shit.
No.
I came when I was 3, but I grew up around your ass, a bunch of Koreans.
That's true. So you speak more Korean.
I speak more Korean.
Oh man, that's funny. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So they don't speak much.
How about Japanese?
My mother-in-law speaks to them in like 90% Japanese.
Oh wow.
So
they know a little more Japanese.
They can probably understand, but they can't really speak.
Does your wife speak fluent Japanese?
She's probably a little better than I am in Vietnamese, but she can't. We're American, man.
Yeah.
We're American as hell. Yeah.
Sure. From the Jeep that you drive to the shotguns and.
That's right.
Yeah. Working for the city.
That's right.
Cool, man.
I think that's the craziest thing because when, let's say, quote unquote Caucasian folks in America see a lot of us, as sad as it is, I don't think a lot of them identify us as American, but they see us as Asians that are living in America. Right. So it's just like at what point or what do you need to have or be or look like for you to be identified as Americans?
Right.
Honestly, to me, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You can look at me any way you want.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. I'm still going to do what I'm going to do.
But we grew up here in a bubble. We talked about this yesterday or the other day. We grew up in a bubble, Rick. And I mean, there's nowhere else in the country, in the United States, maybe even the world, where it's like this, where it's
a melting pot.
Yeah. There's this melting pot. But in LA, if you don't know, it's pretty segregated. There's communities and zip codes that, the Koreans live in, the Chinese, the Japanese, and the Asians in general, or, the blacks or the Hispanics,
right.
And people don't really realize that.
But I think that's fine, though. I mean, because you're going to want to be around people that look and talk and act like you.
Right.
But as long as you don't put someone down that doesn't look and talk and act like you.
Yeah, and I think that's the real important
That's
thing.
it.
That's why I never really, we hear, melting bowl, right? Melting pot a lot. And I always heard that too. But then somebody said, like, we're actually more like a salad bowl. We're not a that's just a bunch of little things that's just good. All in one bowl.
That's actually
we're
really
not
good.
I'm the bacon bits.
I'm the bacon. Sure,
I'm the good stuff.
He's the mullet bit.
Rick,
whatever the mullet bit is.
Rick is the egg. He's the white on the outside, yellow on the inside.
I don't know what, dude. I don't know what I am, man. Honestly, I feel like a million different cultures all like smashing into one.
Yeah.
And at the point after a certain point, you're like, I don't give a shit. I'm just who I am, and
right.
You know what I mean? Like, stop trying to identify with something. Just be.
Yeah.
I
agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. Just to go back, not to beat a dead horse, but your tattoos. What are the other ones?
So, I'm a Year of the Dragon, and my wife is also Year of the Dragon. My daughters are twins, and they're both Year of the Ox. So on one side I have a dragon holding an ox, which is me holding my daughter. On the other side
sweet.
I have the same shit, which is a dragon holding an ox, which is my wife holding my daughter. So
that's pretty
That's
dope.
cool.
So I mean, there's
It's thoughtful.
It's thoughtful. It's not just because Asian dragon. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So did you get all your tattoos within the past 10 years then?
I
After having your
did.
kids?
Maybe about 8 years ago.
Okay.
7, 8 years. It's crazy how time flies. Yeah. About 7, 8 years ago.
So when you went for the interview for the city, you covered them up?
No, I've been with the city for 18 years, man.
Oh, so yeah, you started working for us.
Yeah, I started working for the city when I was 26. So that was a while back. Damn. But when I go to work, I'm covered up.
Right.
Yeah, my work
Always,
doesn't.
100%.
Yeah, work doesn't know.
I'm
like, hey man,
what do you now? No, I'm kidding.
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, work was fantastic.
You have a clipboard and a pen?
Oh, yeah. I do.
Yeah.
Did you know that secret?
Of course, we talked about it.
The secret is, I'm gonna let everybody know the secret is.
Yeah, tell them.
Whenever you're at work, no matter what you do, you look busy, right?
Perception is everything.
Perception is key. Perception is key. So I don't care if you're gonna go take a dump. Grab a keyboard and a pen. I'm not kidding. Grab a keyboard with some paper in there and a pen and walk to that restroom like you're about to go to a meeting. Yeah. Bam, 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 bam.
Walk fast. Everywhere you go, walk fast.
So you look like, dude, I'm in charge.
You don't want that dude that walks in slowly saying hi to everyone at the office. Yes. He looks lazy. Exactly. People are just gonna think this dude is just.
It's the little things, dude. It's always look like, oh, that dude looks like he's in charge.
Yeah.
That dude's up to something.
Whatever he's doing, he's super busy.
Exactly.
Yeah. He must be important.
He must be important. Look at him. Yeah. Walking in your mind, you're like, I gotta take a fucking dump. You know what I mean?
With that, you know what? We talk about the bamboo ceiling. Okay, so it's much like the glass ceiling and whatnot. Have you ever experienced that at work?
You know what? Yeah, like
any work, not
anything,
just from the city or.
See, I understand the obstacles that are there, right? Mm-hmm. Especially as a minority, you understand the obstacles that are there, but I try not to focus on it.
Right.
I try not to even look at it, right? Because if you look at it and you focus on those obstacles, you kind of hold yourself back.
I agree.
So my thing is just recognize it for what it is, but fuck it. Right? Yeah. Don't use that as an excuse.
It's all on you.
It's all on you.
It is.
Mean, there's minorities in very powerful positions.
There are.
And they got there somehow.
Yep.
Right? And if they're able to get there, then shut the hell up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Filling that quota. No, I'm kidding.
Right? We need one more. You know, that's how
we need one more.
You know, it's funny. I think that's how I got into UCSD because I didn't make it to Irvine. I didn't make it to Irvine, but I got into USC because Irvine's like.
Just pick one from the Asian pile over there.
Yeah, because Irvine's like they're too close to Santa Ana. We got way too many Vietnamese folks. It's UCSD is all white. They're like, one more token pho-eating bastard.
Yeah.
We need a few more colors. Come on, let's just get one.
Yeah. But I mean, it's stop holding yourself back, man. Stop, making up excuses why you can't move ahead.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, no. So with that said, do you? I already know this answer, but there's a couple questions that we'll just run through really quick. You're a dog or a cat guy?
Dude, I'm a dog guy. I love dogs. I have a boxer mastiff at home right now. Before that, I had 2 boxers. I'm a total dog. I love dogs, man.
Did you grow up with dogs? I don't know. When you were a kid,
high
school, I don't remember.
I had a dog growing up, but I was a kid, so I didn't really pay attention to it. But I've always been a dog guy. Yeah,
over cats.
Yeah, so I've always told myself when I have the means, I'll have dogs. So for the last 15 years, I've had dogs.
Yeah. So beer or wine?
Neither. I like whiskey. Bourbon.
Whiskey. Yeah. Well, that's my next question. Whiskey or vodka, but.
Whiskey
for sure.
For sure. Browns all the way.
Yeah. You are too, right, Jake?
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, more bourbon now than whiskey.
Yeah.
Oh, really? So that's one thing I still couldn't transition.
I love Scotch, right? But for everyday drinking, I think bourbon just goes down a little bit.
Makers is your brand, or
I like Makers. Yeah. I like Makers. It's a little sweet, but
I think that's the reason why it doesn't vibe too well with me right now. It's just the sweet part.
It's too sweet.
Yeah, it's just too sweet for it to be an everyday drink, something that I could just sip on.
Right.
It's a little sweet.
Yeah. This is a good everyday. It's actually Kirkland. It's a blended Scotch.
It's Kirkland.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Kirkland. The Costco shit is good shit.
They make it.
No doubt, man. This is what we should be stockpiling.
But Kirkland doesn't make their own stuff. They slap their own label on other people's stuff. Right. So we might be drinking some some Johnny Blue or something.
Yeah,
You never
could
know.
be a blend of whatever's left over in those casks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny last night because remember I told you guys I was out looking for toilet paper.
Yeah.
So I was out with my wife looking for toilet paper. I can't find it. I was like, oh god, we need to stock up. Let me just go grab a 12-pack of beers. And like I brought in my wife's friends. Like, well, what is it? Says water, so I'm just stocking up.
Is there a shortage of alcohol too at the stores?
There isn't.
No,
I don't think so, but you know what goes up in times of kind of in like the Great Depression, or in times like this, is people drink more.
When
they
stuff
go
hits
to more
the fan.
movies,
Yeah,
because they need entertainment. They want
need
to escape.
Yeah,
escape.
That's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my buddy Jason, he went to the store and he's grabbing all the bourbon.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Just in case.
It's funny how when you go to Costco, you kind of look around and you realize like what people buy in cases of emergency.
Yeah.
Right? And apparently it's not lamb chops, right?
Nope, not lamb chops. Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Rick.
Sure.
What's your of course, like you pay, you don't ever use it, but what's your home self-defense gun?
Shotgun is my go-to.
Okay.
Right? Because I think you don't even have to fire.
Yeah.
All you got to do is
you just want to hear, right? But let me
Yeah.
ask you this then. So between these two rounds right here, how would you load your home self-defense?
I would go with the game shot. I wouldn't go with a buckshot because drywall is very thin, right? And I have kids in the house, so I think with the regular birdshot, I think that's plenty.
Plenty good enough.
Because we go skeet shooting, and you've seen the damage that shit can do to
clay
to
is very fragile, though.
It is, but I don't want to get shot with anything.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
So,
Yeah.
So I mean, the
let
goal,
alone like get shot with like 100
can you
pellets.
imagine?
Yeah.
I mean, the goal is just to deter.
Of course.
The goal is not to like maim and shit. And
Yeah.
just, I
Not
mean,
to destroy.
not to destroy.
Right.
So I think, it's sort of like self-defense rounds or hollow point, right? For a reason, so you don't end up, hitting your neighbor.
Yeah, you don't want to penetrate through and
have
it pass and.
Right, you want to be able to hit the perp, right, and just that's it. But
yeah, I mean, I don't own a shotgun, but I heard like you go like bird, buck,
bird,
stuff like that.
So
like
shotgun is my number one, just because of the because it looks mean too. Like you don't want to, right? If you're about to rob a house and the dude got a shotgun, you're not.
Yeah. Or you hear that click clack, and that's going to be the deterrent.
Right.
But I think Jay's making a good point, because you know how most people load it for home defense is what you do is you put in your bird and then your buck, and
after
then
that
your bird and then your buck.
Right.
That's how you load it, because the first one is the click clack. And if that guy's not scared of your click clack, he's going to come in, then you shoot off a warning shot, which is the bird shot.
Right.
And then
you go for the
if
real
it
stuff,
gets
if he's still coming,
serious, you put a hole through him.
Yeah. I also have a 1911 45, a Springfield. That's
I have one too.
Yeah, that's.
I want one of those.
Yeah, that's next to me in the safe. So that's probably that's probably the first one because it's closest within reach. But again, I don't want.
That's my bedside one too.
I mean, even with a 45, it doesn't matter if you have a hollow point or,
it's stopping power.
Full metal jacket. You're gonna take someone out. So yeah.
Do you have a 9mm too, or
I do. I have a CZ subcompact.
Okay.
But the accuracy on that thing sucks. Man. I can't hit anything from like 6 feet away. The 1911 is pretty damn accurate, though.
Even though it's a 45.
Even though it's a 45, which is funny because my 45 has less recoil than my 9.
Really?
What? Yeah, it
That's
does.
Springfield?
Well, because the 1911 is heavier, so it takes the shot.
When was the last time you went to the range?
Shit, man, probably with you, like a couple years ago.
Wow, you got to go to the range.
Yeah, like we used to go to desert, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. That was fun.
It was fun, but then you're wasting like a couple $100 in rounds shooting dirt.
Yeah,
shooting dirt, man. So
it is.
It's fun. It's fun as hell. But then you drive home, and after you kind of sober down, and you're like,
you realize
I just spent $300 shooting dirt.
It was fun as hell. My ears hurt, but man, what was I thinking?
I killed the hell out of that dirt, though, bro. You know what I mean?
I think last time we had like a old toilet out there, and then we had a TV. Someone brought a TV.
Yeah, but it's fun because it makes you feel like
toilets don't want to mess with me.
No, it makes you feel like a man though. You're like, yeah, baby, yeah. I destroyed the hell out of a street cone.
We should go shooting though. Yeah, we should definitely go to the range and figure it out.
Makes you feel manly.
Yeah.
No, shooting is absolutely. But see, that's the thing. It's the whole it's a freedom to own a gun.
Freedom to protect what's yours, right?
That's right. And you can't protect yourself, but you can't use that shit.
Amen.
So you got to protect. You got to practice it.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge conversation with this whole election race right now too.
Yeah.
with the whole Second Amendment and how each respective parties feel about it,
right,
and the things that they want to change or impose. Or
what I don't like about the whole two-party system is like one or the other.
Right.
It's so dumb, man. It's and I know a lot of people from one party might believe in some of the stuff from the other party, but they won't vote that way.
Right.
It's so stupid. I'm so against the whole two-party system. It's like,
what do you consider yourself? Where do you lean?
I'm right in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm right in the middle. There's a lot, as there's a lot of backlash against the administration now.
Yeah.
Right. But there's a lot of stuff that the administration right now is doing that I think makes sense.
Cool.
Right. And there's a lot of stuff that the administration doing that doesn't make sense. A little bit of, I liked Obama. Right. So a little bit of both.
Like a libertarian.
Yeah, and I feel the same way. I don't think there's a perfect party, right?
No,
or
there's
like
not.
a perfect belief. So it's just like, there's some goods from this side, some goods from this side. So
Right.
if you could kind of get the perfect mixture of both, I mean, that'd be great.
And that's the hard part is you can't. So anytime, like, the impeachment trial.
Right.
You guys watch that?
Yeah, a little bit of it.
You had everybody on one side voting one way and everybody on the other side voting one way. Really?
Right.
It's not that black and white, man.
No.
Life's not that black and white. It's just, and you don't want to cross the aisle because it's gonna piss off your party.
Right.
Yeah, it's stupid, man.
That's why you need Asians in office because we're right in the middle. We don't really give a shit.
Well, the homeboy Yang didn't get too far. He tried though, man.
Oh, good for Yang. Shout out to Yang.
That's probably the furthest an Asian candidate has ever gone, right?
Yeah.
The fact that people actually know his name.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
We'll see him again.
That's a big move
I don't
itself.
think he's going anywhere.
But Asians are going through making it into political positions.
Most
you
definitely.
got Ted Lieu, you got So
I think what we need is just time, right? Because at the end of the day, America is not an old country in itself,
right,
as a whole.
200 years.
And
maybe.
then you talk about immigrants. Even immigrants here, it's not an old thing. So it's just as time passes and the more, I guess, like mixed culture it gets, or like the more of a salad bowl it becomes, then we'll just see, regardless of colors or color, I mean, people will just kind of come into.
And I think a lot of it is a stereotype of Asian people too.
Right.
I think that's just going to take time, right, for people to look at us and take us seriously.
Yep.
Right. And I think we're there. I think we're almost there.
Well, I don't know if that's ever going to go away, the stereotypes, but what is getting better is the media having more of an acceptance of all this Asian whatever, movies, entertainment.
That was a big thing.
Yeah, huge TV shows.
It's funny because in school I did a study about Asian male newscasters. Yeah. When I was going to school, there was no Asian male newscasters. Right. None. You had a lot of Asian females newscasters because they were exotic. Right. But then the Asian males are just nerdy.
Yep.
But I think times have changed because you have Asians doing real, important stuff. So I think it's going to change very soon. I think the perception is going to change.
Yeah, no, I have to agree. I think for the most part, we're seeing more and more, especially here. I travel a lot, or I did, and then when I go to hotel rooms, when I get ready in the morning, my usual routine is turn on the news, the local news.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to tell you that not only does LA and Southern California have really good-looking newscasters compared to the rest of
especially country. The Weather Channel. What?
Yeah. We have very eye-friendly, eye-candy. I think that's one of the requirements.
It's funny. You can watch 20 minutes of weather and not know what the weather is.
Yeah. Like, what did she just say?
I think it's raining, babe. I think it's raining.
And then it's more diverse here, too, because you'll see Asians doing sports. You'll see Asians doing this and that. So, anyways, we really loved having you, Rick. We can talk.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can continue to talk, I know, for hours.
Yeah, this was cool.
Usually. Yeah, I want you to come back whenever you have time. Thanks for taking time out. I know it's a Saturday. You took time out from your girls and being with your wife and stuff like that. So
this was cool. I hope I didn't talk too much. I had a good time.
No, absolutely not. Thank you.
We love talkers, man. Yeah,
right on.
Thank you.
Good luck, guys.